Okay, so for this slide, we have budgeting, lunches, specifically two examples that I picked out myself. Um, so the first lunch idea is a chickpea salad wrap with apples and carrots as optional ideas, but it comes out to about $2.70 with those two options. Um, Half a can of chickpeas is about 55 cents. A tablespoon of mayo or Greek yogurt is about 15 cents. Um, a fourth of avocado is about 35 cents, give or take, just depending on if you decide to add it or not. Diced celery and onions about 20 cents. Um, Whole wheat tortilla wrap is about 50 cents, assuming that you're only using one out of the pack you decide to buy. And that comes out to about $1.75. The apple itself is about 60 cents. Um, and that's give or take economy and all that different types of things. Could be less. Half a cup of carrot sticks is about 35 cents. And then there's some conversions on the bottom under it. So a can of chickpeas is about $1.10. And tortillas for a pack of 250, pack of 10 is about 250. So one wrap comes out to 25 cents to 50 cents. Um, Pound of apples is about $1.20. It might be a little low because this is kind of a general basis of like all of the US. So um, it's kind of hard to get like a real pricing specifically in Washington, but that's like a general, I guess, idea. Um, Carrots are about $1.50 for a 2 pound bag. So half a cup would be about um, 30 to 40 cents. And then Greek yogurt itself, it comes out to about $4 for a 32 ounce tub. So again, prices can be increased, decreased, it just depends on where this information is coming from, but I'm assuming it's a general basis of the US itself. Um, the second idea is egg fried rice plus oranges and peanut butter, and that comes out to a total of 2.95. So half a cup of uncooked rice comes out to about 20 cents. Two eggs comes out about 83 cents. Um, Half a cup of veggies comes out to about 35 cents. Teaspoon of soy sauce or oil comes out to 10 cents. One small orange is about 55 cents. Teaspoon of butter is also, or peanut butter is about 25 cents. And the conversions of the whole wholesale bought items is on the side of it. So it kind of gives you a general idea of certain things you can buy and you can make together. And these are just kind of certain examples that I've decided to add because I think they're good examples because fried rice is relatively a cheap thing to make, especially when you portion it right. Um, and the options on the side kind of make it easier to to decide whether or not you want to add them or not. So these are just a couple ideas that I decided to add to the PowerPoint that I think would be um, kind of impactful if you're trying to save money or even eat a healthy lunch because these are pretty healthy lunch ideas as well. The second slide's about vegan budget and vegetarian budget. So inexpensive kind of base proteins are lentils. It's like $1.50 per pound. Um, 18 grams of protein per cup cooked. Tofu is a very inexpensive item that's very good for you. And it's very vegan, vegetarian friendly item. Beans are also a very good vegan and vegetarian friendly item that's very inexpensive and it's also very good for you. And it goes with a lot of different things, like tacos, wraps, bowls, and etc. like that. Good grains for protein is quinoa, and brown rice. It's cheap and it's also very filling. So after eating it, you feel pretty hefty. And if you it sits with you for a while. Um, and those are just good fillers because you a lot of the times might eat something and then afterwards you kind of feel that like you maybe needed more or You need to eat something else. But with these types of rich protein items, you, for the most part, really don't feel that or have an issue of that later. So you can sit with it for a good amount of time. Affordable protein-rich staples is like whole grain bread. Bread's um, a really good item, especially when you're buying per loaf. It's a big buy. So like you can really use bread resourcefully, and you don't really have to eat that much to feel filled after. Um, Plant milks like soy milk and oat milk are very high in protein and they're very filling as well. For soy milk, it's about 250 to 350 a cart. Um, Pea milk's about $3 to $4 a carton. Oat milk's about $3 to $4 a carton, and almond milk's also a very good choice. It's only $2 to $3 a carton. So those are some good vegetarian and vegan budgeted food items or ideas that you could take away from this. A really big point um, in this presentation is reducing waste because the more waste we manage to reduce, not only does it help us, but it also helps the earth and helps all these different ideas that we have on littering and all these different things. So big idea is using reusable containers like plastic containers that you keep at home or glass containers, ditching disposable bags and plastic wrap in favor of durable, washable containers made from BPA-free plastic, stainless steel, or glass. These are cost effective in the long run and better for the environment. So when you're not throwing away these things, you don't have to rebuy them. You don't have to really go out of your way to get new things. So if you just manage to not lose them or break them, they're really good in the long run because you can just reuse them over and over. Another big way of not of reducing waste is portion leftovers. So maybe you don't eat as much one day and you have leftovers, turning that into dinner extras into ready made lunches by portioning them into individual containers. It not only reduces food waste, but also saves time during busy mornings. Um, Avoiding single-use items is also a big thing, minimizing reliance on plastic utensils, paper napkins, and foil. Instead of using those types of things, use reusable silverware, cloth napkins, or refillable water bottles to cut down on daily waste. Using Dasani plastic water bottles and Aquafina and those things, you're throwing those away daily. Like it's very unlikely that you're going to finish a plastic water bottle and think to yourself, hey, I'm just going to keep this. Maybe at most by the end of the day, but then you end up most likely 90% of the time throwing them away. So it's better to just buy like a hydro flask or a Stanley where you can think about really being like, hey, I don't want to throw this away. I really want to do reuse it. So it favors you just having to refill that over and over until maybe you break it or it just gets so damaged to the point where you have to buy a new one. But that takes forever unless you're just very not caring to the item, but that's very unlikely as well. Smart storage equals longer shelf life. So labeling containers with contents and dates to avoid food getting rotten or forgotten. Store food properly to maximize freshness and reduce unnecessary tossing. So this would look like keeping things that are more likely to spoil faster in the front of your fridge versus putting them in the back, putting things in the back knowing that they can sit there for a while. Um, and like also keeping things like maybe bread from molding, putting in the freezer, because when you put in the freezer, it reduces the time it takes for those things to mold. So just understanding how you're saving your food and what you're doing to reduce the percentage of spoiling food in your kitchen. Another thing is buying bulk and packing your own. Instead of buying individual wrap snacks, purchase them in bulk and divide them in small reusable snack containers. Not only does it reduce costs of like in the long run, it also reduces packaging waste because you're not buying individual packaging, throwing it away, and etc. You're buying bulk and then you're reusing your containers for that bulk, and then it turns into this idea where you're doing it over and over and over so that you don't have to just throw more things away. And it also, again, it costs less to buy in bulk. So that's a big idea that we have there. Key takeaways of this presentation in general is balanced meals don't have to be expensive. Healthy lunches can be built from low-cost staples like beans, rice, oats, frozen vegetables, and whole grains. Um, for the most part, there's no not a need for pricey health foods. I know there's a big stigma that like the healthier the food, the more expensive it is, but that's just more so a myth than in general. You just really have to understand what you're buying and how you're buying it. Because if you're going to Whole Foods and going to an aisle, and you're looking at the most healthy, I guess you would say, item, and then just not looking at the price tag and only buying an individual sizes, then yeah, it's going to be very expensive. But if you buy in bulk, you're not looking just at brands and you're actually understanding what you're buying, and then it gets a lot cheaper as you go. Planning ahead to save money and reduce stress, weekly meal planning can save a lot of time and money. Grocery lists help you stick to a budget, reduce food waste, and avoid last minute spending on takeout. This is where I go back to don't just go to an aisle and just randomly buy things that you think is good for you or looks good. Really go in with a plan, have a budget, and understand that you shouldn't go over the budget, maybe give or take a little bit of money, but try to stay as strict to the budget as possible. Meal prep makes healthy choices easier. So prepping ingredients or full meals in advance saves not only time, but ensures you that you have nutritious options ready throughout the week. This is a big thing because a lot of times when people don't plan their meals, they don't really think about what they're eating. They kind of just feel the need to eat. So by planning these things, you already have a set list of like, okay, I'm eating this, and I'm going to eat this, and it prevents overeating or buying more food and stuff like that. Smart shopping stretches your dollar, buying in bulk when possible. Choose store brands, compare unit prices, and take care of in-session produce or sales to maximize your grocery budget. This is very important, as buying in bulk will just save you a lot more money, especially when you know you want to eat certain things. You might as well just buy it in bulk. And again, don't look at just brands, because a lot of the times people just will look at a brand and be like, "Oh, this is a good brand, so I'm just gonna buy it." Like, no, like not that's not a good way of looking at what you should be buying. You should honestly just be understanding what you should buy and buy it based on the ingredients and stuff like that, and not the brand. And the last thing is reducing waste and saving with sustainable habits. Use reusable containers, cloth napkins, and refillable water bottles. Packing lunches in eco-friendly ways to help the environment, and it'll cut down long-term costs. So reducing waste is probably the biggest idea here, other than budgeting. Again, we want to save this earth together, and we want to have this idea that the more people do this, the better our earth will get in the long run. Because we waste too many items every day. And I know I'm a victim of this myself. I slip up sometimes. That's why I've converted to getting a reusable water bottle. That's why I pack my lunches, because I understand that buying lunches every day is not cost friendly, but it's also hurting the environment in a lot of ways. So those are the big key takeaways of this presentation. These are just a list of resources and inspiration. So there's a budget-friendly website, recipe sites, Budget Bites, plant-based on budget, and then Eating Well budget meals. There's just a couple budget websites that you can look at that can show you ways of budgeting your food. There's a couple apps and tools, Mealime, Supercook, Yumly, SnapEd, Connection Tools. These are just some apps that you can download on your phone, um, that can help you with ingredients, meal prepping, and recipe recommendation with nutrition info. And then community resources, food pantries, cooking and nutrition classes in school and college pantry programs. These can just be good for the youth kids in middle school, high school, and even college. College is a big one because a lot of times in college, you're really not thinking about what you're eating. You're really not thinking about how you can save money. You're kind of just doing it and you're just kind of living in college. So this could be a big way for a lot of people that are in college that are in early 20s to really think about what they're doing and what they're eating, um, and help themselves. So that's my presentation for you. I really hope you enjoy it, and I hope you stop and think about what you're doing on your daily basis in terms of food. So thank you.